And we are back. So, the weather is getting quite cold here in Canada, and as a result, the trees are dropping their leaves, which means my lawn is covered with leaves. Before moving to my current home, I would often rake the leaves and toss them into the forest behind my house. But I no longer have a forest handy to dump organic matter, so I have resorted to mowing and mulching the leaves. And each time I think I have completed the last mow of the season, I wake up the next day and I find my lawn covered in leaves once more. The joys of owning your own home. Anyways, I was recently watching Marquez's review of the M4 Mac Mini, and mid video, he suddenly says,
And fun fact, Apple just bought Pixelmator, interestingly.
which nearly made me spit out the tea I was drinking in surprise. I mean, how did I miss this announcement? So I quickly jumped over to Pixelmator's website, and sure enough, there's an announcement bar that reads, "We have some important news to share. The Pixelmator team plans to join Apple." I'm just stunned. I'm stunned. The blog post on Pixelmator's website clarifies that there will be no material changes to the Pixelmator applications, which was my greatest concern when hearing the news, and that exciting updates are on the horizon. What those updates could be is anyone's guess. Reactions to the news on Reddit, specifically the Mac Apps subreddit, are mixed. Several users are hopeful that the Mac will get a first party Photoshop competitor in Pixelmator Pro, while others are concerned that the app may eventually disappear entirely. And my reaction was that of the latter. In other words, I am concerned. Apple, after all, has a bit of a history of abandoning or replacing professional apps with more consumer friendly ones. For example, in 2009, Apple stopped development of Shake, a professional compositing app that was used for visual effects in movies like The Lord of the Rings, King Kong, and Harry Potter. In place of it, Apple shifted their attention to the more consumer friendly Motion app in tandem with Final Cut Pro. And as a bit of a side note, Joe Rosenstiel of Six Colors published an insightful article back in 2023 that details some of the history of Apple's acquisition of Shake, which goes into some of the industry leading functionality of the software, as well as Apple's motivations in acquiring it. It's an excellent read if you're interested, so I will put the link in the video description. But getting back to Apple's unfortunate history of abandoning professional apps, another excellent example occurred in 2015. This was the year Apple killed off their professional photo editing app, Aperture, which was followed by the release of Photos on the Mac. And I am still a bit sour about this one, as I was a huge Aperture user and it forced me to jump over to Adobe Lightroom. But with that sort of history, it makes you wonder and possibly dread what Apple might have in mind for Pixelmator, specifically Pixelmator Pro. It is possible, however unfortunate, that Apple will take what it wants from the software to integrate into their other first party apps, such as Photos, before abandoning it altogether. DP Review, for example, writes, given Apple's substantial reworking of its native Photos app, it wouldn't be surprising if we see some of Pixelmator's more advanced editing features show up in macOS and iOS. That would be especially nice for anyone who stores their raw photos with the company, as processing them in Photos has historically been a subpar experience. And I agree with this sentiment. It is indeed something to be excited about, i.e., more advanced editing features being added to Photos, but the excitement is paired with concerns of what might happen to the standalone Pixelmator Pro app. I have used Pixelmator for over 10 years to fulfill all my graphics editing needs, and that includes making the thumbnails for all of these videos. Granted, the thumbnails are not all that impressive, given that I prefer a more minimal theme, but I do in fact make some significant alterations to the imagery to prepare them all the same. And of course, outside of YouTube thumbnails, I have made many graphics with Pixelmator Pro for school, for work, and for personal use. For example, for Christmas one year, I made a plaque for my father. He is an avid cyclist and he often participates in cycling events, including this one in PEI called a Grand Fondo. And when I was thinking about what to get him for Christmas, I saw somebody on Etsy was making these plaques that combined elements from Strava that you could then hang on your wall as reminders or presentations of your big rides. And I thought the idea was excellent, but I was not about to pay over $100 for it, so I made my own in Pixelmator using the same design, and then I had a local printing company prepare the plaque for me. Similarly, back during the days where I would stream games casually on Twitch, I made my channel panels and subscriber badges in Pixelmator as well. You know, I have made infographics, reports, newsletters, posters, presentations, web content, and so much more. It has absolutely been an indispensable tool. In fact, aside from the everyday apps like Mail and Calendar and Safari, Pixelmator is probably my most used Mac app. Hence why it is so concerning that a company who has a bit of a history of abandoning professional software has acquired it. After learning of the news, I did reach out to the Pixelmator team to inquire about the future of the app. Unfortunately, they merely repeated the announcement that there won't be any material or availability changes to their applications at this time. And of course, it is the at this time that has me concerned. If you recall, in 2020, Apple acquired the popular weather app Dark Sky, and in 2022, they shut it down after integrating aspects of it into their own first-party weather app. And needless to say, Dark Sky fans were not too happy. So who's to say whether Pixelmator Pro is next? The good news, however, is that Apple does not currently have any first-party graphics editing apps that Pixelmator Pro could be merged with, aside from perhaps Freeform. However, it currently only offers basic graphics editing for whiteboarding purposes. Certainly not outside the realm of possibility, however, that Apple might merge the two apps, and as long as the functionality of Pixelmator Pro is not lost, I would not complain about a rebrand. And with the recent release of Apple Intelligence and Apple's commitment to functional AI features on their devices and in their apps, a converging of Pixelmator and Apple Intelligence, possibly also Freeform, might result in something rather interesting, which explains why so many are considering how this acquisition might eventually impact Adobe's own graphics editing business in Photoshop. But while all this is exciting, I cannot get over Apple's history of abandoning pro software, so I'm worried. I'm worried about the future of Pixelmator Pro on the Mac, and all I can do is hope that it sticks around the long term in one form or another. I'm on my knees, Apple. Please do not screw this up.